Oi, you know what time it is? You're tuned in listening to Dry That Aussie Metal Guy. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button so you don't miss any of his content when it drops. And remember, stay brutal, you mad dogs. Roof.
Okay, g'day, how you all going? It's Dry, that Aussie metal guy here with crank.com. So today, tonight, this afternoon, wherever you are in the world, it is with great pleasure that we're getting to have a chat with bassist Chris Davidsson from Majestica, the symphonic and power metal band out of Sweden, who are set to embark on a new and exciting journey, stopping all stations, pun intended, for their forthcoming album Powertrain, due for release on February 7th through Nuclear Blast Records. Thank you so very much for joining me, my friend. This is an absolutely ripping album. I've been listening to you guys since your debut, I think, Above the Sky, which amassed some stupid amount of views, like 17 million. So thank you.
Cool, man. Cool, man. Thank you. I mean, sorry, I don't know what happened here. Something happened with my camera. There we go.
There we go.
Sorry for interrupting. Thank you for the nice introduction and thanks for the cool words. I think it's great to hear that somebody has been listening and follow us along from Above the Sky to Powertrain. And yeah, I know it's a cool ride, this Powertrain thing.
It definitely is. You guys, everything you have done has had that really great power metal experience. And this latest album, Powertrain, is no different, that is for sure. But it kind of started last year, I suppose, with a new beginning. Looking at it now, sitting there when I got all the presser for this, I was sitting there going, damn, that all makes sense now, because the new beginning, it was at the train station, all about to leave, setting it all off. So I suppose we start there, yeah?
Yeah, that was I know that nobody understood that at the time of the release of A New Beginning, but exactly, it was the plan from that time. What the fuck is going on? Wait, I don't know what the phone is doing. There we go. Okay, I'm gonna check it. So I mean, Above the Sky or A New Beginning was supposed to kind of introduce people to what was to come, but people wouldn't understand what happening. And then the Powertrain, when that first single released, and also the music video, you could tell that we are at the same place and we are actually leaving the train station that we are building up in the New Beginning music video. So people didn't get it, but that now I know that everyone knows what was going on.
Yeah, so what was it like making Powertrain? Tell me a little bit about some of the inspiration and the themes that kind of influenced this, because you've done the Christmas Carol, which was an amazing concept album, but this is like just a let loose now of all the power metal and just the great vibes there. So tell me all about that.
Yes, exactly. You know, we want to, as a Christmas Carol is kind of a little bit of a sidetrack thing compared to what we Above the Sky, and that was a constant thing that we wanted to do that became really good, but it wasn't really a traditional album, let's say that. So it was about time that we did a new kind of, I would see this as more of the follow-up to Above the Sky than I actually do with A Christmas Carol, you know. And it's been a bit of a let's say a bit of a tough ride, because we didn't really get the inspiration for this at the beginning. So at first we had a lot of demos and we had a lot of songs, and then this didn't fit together. So we thought, let's start from the beginning. So we kind of threw away all the songs except maybe 2 songs, and kind of went out. We rented a house in the wild. We went there, the whole band, and just like, okay, we're gonna lock the door for a week. We're gonna turn off the phone and figure out what the fuck we are doing, basically. So then we had our rehearsal place is at like this train garage, or the old one was at this train garage where we were actually in the videos. So we have been standing there watching this kind of train rails and all this stuff for a while, and figured that it would be cool someday to do something about trains. So when we were in this house, we came up with this Powertrain idea, and we came up that this is going to be a concept album in one way, but it's not the concept is going to be that it's not a concept album. It's just going to be somehow connected with this kind of train ride that's going on. And there is different style of, like in the video, there is different style of people which represent different styles of songs, like it would be if you are actually going on a train, you know. So we figured that, okay, let's do it this way. Let's do a concept album with no concept. And then from there, it just kind of like all these ideas came right away. We kind of had the whole title, all the song titles through that week. We had intros, choruses. We had many of the song small foundations written in 1 week, and then it's just been smooth writing. Everything has just been coming like along the way. It's been crazy.
And then with that songwriting process, tell me a little bit more how that unfolded for you, but in particular for your bass part and your instrumentation on this album.
Yeah, so usually it's Tommy who makes the foundations of the songs, and he usually makes a lot of the songwriting. On this album, it's a little bit different because the song Mega True is written by me, and then you have a song called Victorious, which is written by the other guitar player. So it's a bit different this time, and also for the bass lines, I mean, every time when somebody does something, like when the guitar player has made his song, he kind of puts some kind of computer styled bass idea there, and also Tommy does this thing, and then I kind of add whatever touches I think the song needs to the bass afterwards. Of course, bass is a hard instrument to play in power metal because it's super fast, and bass is not really made to play super fast all the time because it's so big sounding. And also, for example, on the fastest songs on this album, the strings on the bass is so slow because they're so big, that they cannot keep up with the tempo. So if you play the same thing as the guitar does, there will be no sound, basically, just like you can't hear. So then you need to figure out what to play behind the fast guitars together with the fast drums if you're going to play half the tempo they are doing, so actually you hear the notes the bass are playing. So it's a bit tricky in this fast music to do the bass lines.
Yeah, so we're talking about the first single there. Like I did talk about A New Beginning. I want to talk about the first single because that kind of ties straight in. That was the only kind of logical first, even if you just probably wanted it to be something else off the album, that was probably always the only logical first single that could be off of the album, yeah?
Yeah, exactly. Because it had to introduce everything. It had to introduce what was going on because, of course, it would be a bit complex to understand the idea if you haven't seen the video or actually heard that song somehow. So it was from the beginning, from when we were in this house. It was like we didn't even have the song, we just had the video idea, and this is what it's going to be. The first song is going to have this music video, and there was no song yet. So it was the perfect step. And also in that video there is a sequence when the band is playing. We are rehearsing something as Majestica in the video, and there is like a tab, like note sheet music in there, which is actually telling you what the next single was, which has been released now, A Story in the Night. So you could actually figure even out what is to come in that music video.
And even in the lyrics, it alludes to kind of that kind of following on as well. And I love the way that it's like there's no concept, but there's a concept, and the way you have thought about the whole story of it all in the process. It's like, as you mentioned, the concept about no concept, but the singles and everything ties together. It's like this story that you can kind of listen. You can jump in any chapter, but you can't jump in from the start and follow it through as well.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. It's kind of cool that we somehow managed to do this concept without a concept. It was a bit tricky and it sounded a bit stupid at the beginning. But I mean, why not? Like, here is an idea. It's all tied together, but every song is on its own leg. Why not? It's a perfect idea, actually, to make an album, I would say.
Especially after doing the last one, and Christmas Carol was a great album, and yet you're locked into such. You've got to still go by this theme and you stick to the Christmas Carol concept. So this is kind of, I suppose, having the little bit more freedom as artists to come back and go, yeah, man, let's just kind of let loose a bit. And you probably would have had this stuff kind of kicking around probably even way back then when you were making that one there, yeah?
Yeah, exactly. A couple of the songs were kind of written already when A Christmas Carol was written.
Yep.
But they are the ones that were kind of on the first album that didn't become an album.
Yep. And tell me about the Mega True track, because that one actually rips, dude. Tell me, because you did mention that one. I want to ask about that one now, because I was just cranking that one just before, dude.
Yeah, so Mega True is it was I don't know how it came to life. It's I was just basically playing bass, and I was figuring that I would do some kind of cool bass riff for the album. Uh, so it was just written on bass from the beginning. It wasn't anything else, which is kind of we don't really work that way. We usually do ideas from maybe a title or maybe something else. And of course we had the title for that song because on the Above the Sky album we have this Mötley True song, which is a bit slower and more heavy metal style and kind of similar in one way. And we will do the second version, which would be Mega True. And I guess if you check out the titles, you can figure out where the inspiration for the titles comes from, Mötley True and Mega True.
Yep.
But then the song itself has also the lyrics is kind of interesting. I don't know if you have listened a lot to the lyrics and figured out what is happening in there, but it's a big reference to another band, and it's actually, yeah, it is very connected to another band actually.
That's it. So everyone give that one a good listen when that does drop February 7th. What was it like recording at your studio there, Majestic Studios? How does this environment kind of help you guys with the album's production and kind of being able to do that little bit more in-house as well?
Yeah, we have done it kind of. Above the Sky was recorded mostly at another studio, and then A Christmas Carol we built a studio in a house. We rented this kind of crazy house, and we brought all these Christmas decorations because that was recorded in the summertime. So we brought Christmas trees and everything to a house and built a studio just for the sake of that album. But this album, we came to our new rehearsal place, which is also like a studio. We have a few different rooms. We have like studio room, rehearsal place. We have a merchandise. We have like a storage for all our live equipment and all this. So we have this kind of cool place. And me and Tommy, we want to kind of keep it in house, the production thing, because well, for me, I also work with audio tech, and I'm very interested in that part. So it feels very natural for me to work with it. And I mean, I want to create a good sound, and I think I've been looking into how to create it for so many years that I thought that we were like, let's kind of keep it in house, because we also it doesn't become as stressful. Like when you have this, you might go to a studio and you have like a schedule that we're gonna record all this stuff between 8 and 5 or something like this. We can record at 11 in the night if that's when we want to record, or we can record in the morning if that's when we feel like we are actually on point. So it's very nice to do it this way, because you can just let loose and do it when you feel for actually recording something, because we don't have any time schedule. And yeah, and it's also very comfortable to be at your own place, because then you basically can do whatever you want. It's like, okay, let's we want to record some cool choirs. Which room has the best choir sound? Okay, here it might be. Okay, let's put up some microphones here and start working out how to work with this room. So it's pretty cool I would say it's a very creative way to work, as you can figure everything out yourself somehow. Then of course I know that if you go to a studio and there is some super duper professional producer there that knows everything, that maybe can do some wonders for your music. I don't know, but for us, I think a part of the creative process on how to create the sound we are doing is to actually also do the recording and production, and to be there together, and like maybe the drums should sound more like this, or and it's also a part of the creative process to do it, to work like this.
Yeah, and you did mention the orchestral and choir arrangements. Tell me a little bit about kind of how you use them to complement kind of the elements and themes on this album.
Yeah, so the orchestral part is that's always Tommy's thing. He's very, very good with the orchestral arrangements, and he can hide all these kind of crazy things in the orchestral arrangement that even after listening to the songs a billion times, I still not sure I've heard all of the details he have put in there, because he's a genius with that. And then with the choirs, I mean, on this album it's kind of funny, because there is a couple songs in this album that has more of this kind of big church style choirs like it is on A Christmas Carol. But then we also have some songs which is more this kind of, you know, as I would call it, I call it hockey choirs. Like, you know, like you're actually cheering for some football team or hockey team or whatever at some arena. Everyone's just yeah. It has some of those kind of choirs, and I think it gives the music another kind of color somehow. Especially these kind of church style choirs, they are building up something that becomes really, really epic. And on this album, I think that we are on a couple songs, it starts off with more regular choirs and then it goes up and then it becomes more bigger and bigger and bigger. And we are also added more layers. So during the song, like the first time, maybe there is, let's say 3 different styles going on. And then at the end, there's like 5, 6 things happening in the choir. So it's building through the song, basically, with more adding more things to it.
Yeah, and that's what I find fun about listening to albums like this, and especially this one coming back through, and the times that I have been able to listen to it since I got my copy. It's just been, like you said, you pick up all these different elements. You could listen to it like so many different times, and then you're like, there. And like, so you get some good headphones, and then you can hear the sound off in different points of your ears and your speakers. And so even for you guys making it, like the listeners experiencing that as well. And it's, for me, it's always a joy coming back through and listening to whole albums, you know what I mean, and getting those different experiences through different songs. Like one week you're like, damn, I love that one, then the next one, and you're picking up these different points in the tracks, like the end of Victorious, you hear the can cracking, and you know what I
Yeah.
mean? It kind of builds into the Alliance anthem, and it's fun like that going on a journey. So it must be fun for you as a songwriter to make that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun because I think that's so cool, and I think that's so cool with Majestica in general. But I think it's so cool with this album that
Yep.
there's so many creative things that people, you know, from the music videos, from the artworks, from everything. There's so many creative small ideas that people could listen, look at these things for many times, and you were like, oh wait a minute, this thing here is connected to this thing I can hear here, and there is even a lot of connections between the songs. So it's not only like, you know, it's not only in one song that you can hear new things. You can actually hear things in one song that you actually can hear in the background or see in the video in another song on the album. And it's so fun to kind of have this creative, you know, no limits, like just like go nuts. And that's what we are doing here, basically.
Well, you've obviously given this some thought as well with Majestica, because this being the third album, like that first one got 17 million streams. Christmas Carols like went all over the place. This one I know is just going to do the same for you. You guys have played literally everywhere, and you're probably playing all over the world in 2025. Did you foresee this kind of roughly, or are you still kind of sitting back going, man, this is pretty awesome to still, you know, to be able to do this?
Oh yeah, I mean, when we released About the Sky, I don't think we had any kind of plan of what was going to happen. So
Yeah.
it's been a very interesting ride for a few years. As we also have had this kind of issue with the, you know, Tommy being in Sabaton, and we have not been able to tour all the time. And I was
Yeah.
playing with the band called Therion, and I have also been a lot of touring. So we've had all these kind of interruptions in what we would like to do with this band. But somehow it's been alive all the time, and we have managed to keep it alive, and it's just been growing and growing, and people seem to really like what we are doing. And then now finally we can let it all loose and go crazy here. So I think we are still just looking back and, you know, wow, what's happening all the time, basically.
Well, as a songwriter as well, having these different vehicles to be able to express yourself, like as you mentioned, like you can't, there's going to be stuff you're over there making material on that you go, man, I can't use that here, and then going, dude, that's going to be perfect for Majestica. So it would have been when you started playing again, it's like, man, I wanted to be doing this for a while now, and I got this one here. So it probably would have been a full outburst of material too, yeah?
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
And you did kind of work back with Jonas, I believe. He done all the mixing for Powertrain as well. What was that like coming back working with him again?
Well, he is super cool. So yeah, it's the second album with him, and of course, A Christmas Carol sounded amazing, so it was not even a question about it. And then we did this, Metal United song in between, which was like their own release, and that one also sounded super cool. So we didn't even discuss it. It was just, we are doing an album, and it's going to be mixed about this time, so here you have the dates. Basically, we didn't even say anything more than that. But this time it was a bit more interesting than before, because this time we also went to him when he has kind of done the foundations of the mixing. We went there and like did the final touches together with him, and that was really cool to be in the studio and say, hey, the bass should be a little bit louder because it's a bass fill here, or the horn section here is playing some pretty cool thing just at this second here, so you need to raise them up a little bit here. So this time I think all the details that we want to get out there is more polished, let's say, and more there than before.
Damn straight. It's an absolute ripping album, and it does showcase the clear bloody Majestica. Everybody is gonna love it. It does drop February 7th through Nuclear Blast. Chris, do you have any last words, shout outs, thank yous, or anything else you'd like to add in there, my friend?
Yeah, well, I mean, thank you for having me here on the show and talking so good about Majestica. And also, I think everybody, even if you're not a super huge power metal fan, should check out this Powertrain album, because it's a pretty cool train ride, and it has a lot of variation. It goes up and down, and I think there is something for most kind of metal fans on this album, actually. So, well, enjoy the ride and all aboard.
That's it. There's no better way to start your day than some Majestica and some Powertrain. Everybody chucking in the stereos, crank it up really loud because the neighbors are going to want to hear it too. Cheers.
Cheers. For sure.
Oi, you're tuned in to Jai That Aussie Metal Guy, so make sure to hit that like and subscribe button so you don't miss any of his sick content. And remember, stay brutal, you legend.